Oh, what's happening, fam? L.A.R movement still moving. The book. Lessons from an custodial father, Amazon Kindle Create Space. This topic. Go get it. Sorry. This topic is why America is comfortable with racism. Um, did a video a long time ago saying that racism is a business model. And I still believe that. You see, all the wealth that this country has had, all the wealth that white people have worldwide, comes from racism. They don't have a business model that doesn't include oppression, racism, and white supremacy. They don't have a business model that doesn't include stealing, killing, murdering, pillaging. So though people might think people have legitimate businesses now, if you dig into those, usually they're stealing resources from some other place, and they're selling it where they're at. They're stealing resources and killing the people there, or destroying their livelihoods and lives for their comforts. You know, just like how America has been built, founded, and been maintained. Think about it. As you go as far back as slavery, people seem to forget that, the common sense of that is this. How would they know to go to Africa to get black people if black people weren't already here? You have to know who will survive and who works and all that, and who actually can, that part of it. So we were already here, and they brought people here. The reason I say that is because, when they have the foundation of this country, and that's part of the reason why we as a race are under attack by this country, because we're one of the few people who've been here even before. We was here with the Native Americans too, what we call the Native Americans. But because of that, there's a lot that needs to be changed. Think about it. All men are created equal, but we weren't considered men at the time, right? We weren't considered people. We have inalienable rights, which means God-given rights. But we weren't considered people, we were considered property. In a religion, Christianity, that everybody in it is black. And it was rewritten by white people, which says the pathology of, the masses of white people at the time. And some to this day, where when you look in the Bible, it says, let us make man in our own image. That image wasn't good enough for white people. They had to make God in their image. So God wasn't good enough unless God was white. The Son of God wasn't good enough unless the Son of God was white. The message of God wasn't good enough until they changed it to a white narrative. So of course, if you can't even accept God because of skin color, of course you can't accept the people that closest remind you to God. Now, on top of that, I say what I'm saying because of, the current state of America, where people are constantly filming racism and people are acting as if this is something new. Plenty of people have said it. Racism hasn't changed, it's just being filmed. I said years back that technology was going to expose racism in another video. We're living in a country where a racist like Donald Trump can be the president, skipping half of the rules that it takes to qualify to be one, just because he's racist and he's white, and Hoorah. That's okay. That's why this country is comfortable with racism, because it keeps the status quo. It keeps people in their comfort zone, their power position, if they quote unquote have a power position, you know. So now, God ain't good enough, equity ain't good enough, because if things were equitable, it would be the best man wins. And the problem with that is, and though I'm a sports fan, I'm gonna break this down for my people. This is why sports is so prevalent in America. It's not only is it entertaining, it's a constant seasonal reminder that we can't make things fair, because every time we make things fair, these black people take over. And that ain't just a white people thing. Other ethnicities figure the same thing out. You see, have you noticed that the fans are mostly non-black a lot of times? But they're also, and they can cheer for their team, but they can be racist at the same time to the opposing team, even though their team has black players and they're probably wearing a black person's jersey, and their favorite player is a black person. That interesting dynamic. That's why it's comfortable with racism. You can say go, 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 and say get that nigga at the same time. Now, also, it's comfortable in the responses. You see, black people ride, oh my God, look at them, look at they're animals, they're savages, they're thugs. What are they doing? Oh my God, this is why we treat them this way. Oh, really? But see, nobody ever just turns it around and says, well, this is how y'all been acting for hundreds of years. You see, what you consider, the Boston Tea Party is historical. The Trail of Tears is spent, and Andrew Jackson is some kind of freaking hero. See, white America's savagery is acceptable. And black people's response to the savagery is what's unacceptable, because America is comfortable with racism. It's the bread and butter. It's what makes this country function. In a competitive sense. Just think about it. How long do you think this country could last if white people decided not to be racist? How long do you think they would be able to keep their advantages? How long do you think it would take for them to lose their wealth? The stifling of people's ingenuity, lives, creativity, livelihoods, able to produce, able to reproduce with their families, abilities to educate themselves. And that's another thing about this particular thing is, see, the critical thinking of racism has changed over the years with black people. People have often said that, we're not the same people that was going to just bow our heads and walk off like our grandparents and stuff like that. We're not them people. So at the end of the day, you tripping to actually think it's going to work out that way. But it is what it is. The issue becomes, at the end of the day, we're making America uncomfortable because we don't like the racism. We're saying no to it. Racism is unacceptable. And the backlash is because this country doesn't know how to operate without it. Whether it's financially, or morally. Peace.